pictures of Amsterdam and Holland during the war. And the headphones give a narration that follows the sequence of the photographs. So, I was perusing the area, and I saw this small staircase leading up to this big bookcase, and I pulled on this one book, and the entire bookcase just opened up, and there was this whole other room inside. And there wasn't anyone there telling me not to go in, and there weren't any signs or anything, so I walked on in. And I turned my head, and I saw this skylight, and I was like, oh my, this is the room where Anne Frank and her family hid. And that kind of like threw me, you know, because this really isn't something I'm on top of in terms of history. No, it wasn't. I mean, my forte is American history from the 1920s to the present. So anyway, they had to go into hiding. And that kind of blew me away too, because I always thought that when you went into hiding, it was like going from one apartment to the other, because all the people who I ever knew who went into hiding, I knew where they were. And the only people who didn't know were the police. Yeah, but these people had to sit in this room for 2 years. And it wasn't like they were living. I mean, they had 20 hours a day of non-movement. Non-movement. No noise. I mean, they couldn't make a sound. Nerve-wracking, isn't it? Yeah, well, I discovered just like you did that I couldn't do it. I mean, I would have had to make some noise and mess things up, you know? But I realized that was a really stupid way to do things. Because why cut off your nose to make a sound? And when that hit me, so did the fact that I was in an empty room crying. I mean, it wasn't like there was anyone in there trying to kill me. It wasn't like there was anyone in there threatening me. And I said to myself, no, this doesn't have anything to do with you. Get out. So I ran to the door, but I was stopped by this sign that said, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are good at heart. And I was like, what? I mean, who put this up? I just couldn't understand it. So I copped this attitude and said, okay, well, I'm going to write a letter to the author of that quote. So when I got up close enough, my jaw dropped because it said Anne Frank. I mean, this is too childish for words. I mean, how could you say that you didn't even make it? And when I said that, it all made perfect sense. Of course she could say that. She was a child. She was just a kid. And no matter what you do to children, they can always see the good in it, you see. They have that ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't have it. I mean, I'm what you call a dit, you know. What can I say? What are my big day-to-day worries? What grinds me to the bone day in and day out? Things like, why can't I find my American Express card? Or why can't I find a hairdresser to mess with these highlights? These are the things that are my big day-to-day worries. And then you go into a room like this, and you hold your card and your hairdresser against know the true meaning of Trivial Pursuit. So I decided that I was going to adopt this philosophy. This, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are good at heart. This, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are good at heart. This, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are good